Now at 9, the Oklahoma State Superintendent of Schools announces new requirements for including the Bible into curriculums.
4th of July is right around the corner. I'm Anthony Saviello. I'll have some tips and tricks on how to keep you and your family safe this Independence Day.
And Freeman Health System gives the public a lesson on healthcare.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Oklahoma school superintendent wants to incorporate the Bible and the 10 Commandments in state classrooms. The announcement came at a state board of education meeting in response to a key ruling from the state Supreme Court. Ryan Walters is calling for every Oklahoma classroom, 5th grade through 12th, to have a Bible, and says teachers must instruct from it in grades 5 through 12.
The Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, and is frankly, when we're talking about the Bible, one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country.
Oklahoma's highest court this week blocked an attempt to create the nation's first publicly funded religious charter school. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today, but the humidity wasn't too bad, so it felt decent outside, even though we topped out at 91. Average highs 88 degrees, record 102 set back in 1953. Temperatures still warm, most of us low to mid 80s. We still have a little bit of a heat index out there, kind of mid 80s. But as we go through the nighttime hours tonight, we'll start to see some clouds increasing. We have clear skies right now, but we're tracking thunderstorms out to the west. Now, the next several hours are going to be fine, but after 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, some of these storms will try to get into our western counties. This line's going to fall apart as it does so, but we are going to have some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there along and north of I-44 as we go through the morning hours. And then we really heat up as we get into tomorrow afternoon and the weekend. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. And with the 4th of July right around the corner, first responders are warning about the dangers surrounding fireworks. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has tips and tricks to keep you and your family safe.
America's birthday, a day to celebrate our independence and remember the origins of our country. It can also be a day of injuries if you're not careful.
The key to shooting fireworks off safely is being prepared. You want to have an open area away from buildings, away from your vehicles, away from tall grass to shoot your fireworks. But even before that, you want to make sure you have a bucket of water or a charged hose line, something that if a firework does go ahead and catch fire, you're able to put it out. Or once they are spent, you're able to soak them in that water before you dispose of them into your trash cans.
According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, 9,700 injuries were related to fireworks last year. 1,500 of those were from firecrackers and sparklers alone.
The minor burns is the biggest thing. I think people do try to be safe. Sometimes accidents do happen. That's why they're accidents.
It's important to keep your small children and pets away from dangerous fireworks. However, there are still ways for them to get in on the fun.
Oh, we have snappers, snakes, little stuff like that. The tanks are good. We also will give you punks that can kind of prevent them from getting burned or stuff like that. If they want to, maybe light a firework or something, that's really good to give the kids. That way they feel like they're doing something.
All fireworks have warning labels that tell you exactly what they do. Some fireworks stores like here at Jake's will even allow you to scan your firework, and it'll allow you to preview it so you can know whether or not it meets your needs before you set it off. Once you're done buying your fireworks, don't worry. If you still have questions, the employees will be able to answer them, and you get free punks along with every firework purchase. As to when you can set off your fireworks, each city has their own rules.
Just check with your local ordinances, and they can give you a clear, defined time of when you can and can't shoot off your fireworks.
Once you have what you need to light your fireworks safely, you can let the fun begin. Just make sure to douse and dispose of properly. Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
We like to have fun here. For more safety tips before you celebrate, be sure to look on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the Grand River Dam Authority has a caution for people heading to a lake or river for the July 4th holiday. Boat safe, smart, and sober. The holiday is typically one of the busiest times on the water. GRDA police say they'll be out in full force to perform patrols, assist boaters, and of course, promote safe outings. Among their tips, wear a life jacket, don't boat or float alone, and don't drink and boat. They say most serious boating accidents involve alcohol. High schoolers interested in the medical field were at Freeman Hospital in Joplin learning hands-on techniques. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Freeman's week-long summer program is exposing teenagers to a wide variety of roles in the medical field. Students learn about bacteria,
that's called beta hemolysis. What does that mean?
hospital functions, and even how to stop a bleed.
It's still bleeding.
If it's pretty deep, then make sure to pack it, but really just make sure there's pressure on it and that the wound stops bleeding.
I really liked anesthesia because it's sort of like doing surgery, but not really. It's like the behind the scenes, so you gotta just observe and see everything that happens.
28 students are enrolled in Freeman's Health Academy. Organizers say the program has been growing ever since its return in 2023.
I like coming here to Joplin for the first time and just experiencing how things work in a hospital setting, because we don't have many of these programs up where I'm from. So
You see so many different areas that you only kind of hear about. You don't get to go and get up close and more hands-on, so that was really cool. And then we also are doing growing cultures for the lab, and so that is cool also.
Staff, basically. Oh, okay.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Freeman Health Academy will have 2 week-long sessions in July. Well, young area musicians today took part in a workshop. Pitt State hosted the first day of its string camp, which focuses on stringed instruments. Today, they focused on technique and rehearsing. It'll all culminate tomorrow in a concert for family and friends.
It's the opportunity for you to get to meet other people who are passionate about the same type of things, and so then they hopefully build these friendships that can foster their growth as a musician and as a human being.
That concert will be at 6 p.m. tomorrow at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. The Lamar City Park hosted a community picnic. The event takes place on the 4th Thursday of every month, March through October, except for August. It features food trucks, live music, games, and more.
It's to build a sense of community, to have a chance to see people you may not always see, enjoy some local food trucks, and just fellowship together.
The next picnic in the park will take place July 25th. Coming up, a perfect time to get checked.
It's time to check your status, the initiative encouraging Americans to get tested for HIV. I'm CB Cotton in New York with the details coming up.
The CDC revised its recommendations for the RSV vaccine. Yesterday, scientific advisors to the federal agency reframed the guidelines on who should receive the vaccine. Last year, the CDC recommended adults ages 60 and older could receive a single lifetime dose of the RSV vaccine. And now they unanimously recommend all Americans ages 75 and older receive 1 dose of an RSV vaccine. The decision was based on recent safety and effectiveness data. Well, some 30,000 Americans are diagnosed with HIV each year, and part of preventing the spread is knowing your status. As part of that initiative, people were encouraged to get tested today for National HIV Testing Day. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has the story.
It's time to check your status. June 27th marks the 29th annual National HIV Testing Day.
It is important to seek screening because we know that many STIs may not present with overt symptoms, but they can still cause complications and even spread from one person to another.
There are an estimated 25 million sexually transmitted infections each year in the U.S., and doctors say the best prevention is to get tested and know your status.
and then get treated if found to have an STI. This, will not only benefit the person with the STI, but also the sex partner or partners with whom that person may come in contact with.
Although infections have declined in recent years, HIV remains an epidemic in the U.S., with 1.2 million people living with the disease, according to CDC estimates. Still, many don't know they're infected.
Approximately 13%, so 1 in 8 that are living with HIV don't know their HIV status. Knowing one's status is a critical first step, both for HIV treatment as well as prevention.
To help with prevention, Walgreens is offering free rapid HIV screenings across the country to provide easy access to those who want testing or can't afford it.
Generally speaking, an individual can have the results within approximately 20 minutes. We'll then be able to talk to not only about the results, but treatment and prevention options.
Another option is at-home testing for those who are reluctant to go in person. The CDC recommends an HIV test as part of routine health care for everyone ages 13 to 64. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases says an injectable HIV prevention medication called lenacapavir was shown to be safe and 100% effective in clinical trials among women. Researchers say the long-acting PrEP is administered twice a year and could be an important tool for patients unable to take pills daily. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, a new golf entertainment center is now officially open in Webb City. We'll hear from the owners of Tea Time.
Of course, another hot one for us today. Temperatures, they were right around 90 to 91 degrees during the afternoon, but at least the humidity wasn't too bad, which is always nice to see. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam downtown, looking northeast through downtown. Temperatures still warm. Most of us upper 70s to lower 80s, 81 in Miami, 81 in Carthage, 77 in Cassville. Behind me, we have Nowata at 82. Yates Center's checking in at 80 degrees. Let's go outside. 81. Southeasterly winds are light, but the winds are going to pick up as we go through the next couple days, but at least the humidity is not too bad. We're kind of sitting 60 to about 65 degrees on our dew point tracker, which puts us in that not bad, kind of sticky range. And that's where we're going to sit as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Now, the winds pick up a little bit as we go into Friday. We're going to have gusts kind of 20 upwards to 30 miles per hour at times through tomorrow night and into Saturday as our next front starts to drop in. Heat advisory in effect through the day tomorrow. Kansas, Oklahoma, excessive heat warning with heat indices pressing 110 once you get through northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Not too much going on outside for us right now, but we are tracking some storms out to our west, central western Kansas, and some of these guys are going to try to push in late tonight into tomorrow morning as we have a weak little wave that's going to rotate through, and most of the energy will stay to our north, but we are going to see some scattered showers. Here's 3:30 in the morning, a few trying to get in toward Yates Center, kind of pushing east, light scattered showers, mainly along and north of I-44. So here's 7 a.m. Showers push out by 9 or 10 a.m. Then partly sunny skies, hot and humid. Temperatures 96, 97 for an afternoon high. Tomorrow night, we're going to watch chances for additional scattered thunderstorms, mainly after midnight, dropping through the region. Here's 4:30 in the morning on Saturday. Any showers or thunderstorms we do have out there will be gone by mid-morning on Saturday. Then partly sunny, hot and humid again. Now, Saturday evening, we got to watch for pop-up storms. They're going to be very isolated to scattered, but the ones that do get going could be strong to severe. So we got to keep our eyes on that as well as we get into Saturday night. All right, rainfall potential, at least over the next couple days. Heaviest in our northern counties. The farther south you go, the lighter it gets. Very spotty, but some areas will pick up some decent amounts of rain. Day planner for you Friday. Few showers to start, 88 by noon, high temp, 97 degrees. What about those heat indices? Tomorrow, it's going to feel like upper 90s to near 100, then 100 to about 107 once you get out into our western counties. And then even on Saturday, heat indices 100 to about 105 degrees. All right, 97 tomorrow, 96 Saturday. A little bit cooler Sunday, 87, back to 92 on Monday. And then triple-digit heat moving in right before the 4th of July.
Coming up, what to expect on the road.
The 4th of July is still a week away, but plenty of folks are starting their holiday travel early. I'm Katie Byrne at a rest stop along I-95. I've got the details coming up.
The 4th of July is just a week away and the travel rush is already underway. The FAA predicts today will be the busiest air travel day of the year so far, with nearly 54,000 flights expected to take off today and tens of thousands more in the coming days. FAA Administrator Michael Whittaker discussed summer air travel and how the agency navigates around bad weather.
We have a command center in Virginia that coordinates among all the centers and with the airlines to make sure we're routing traffic around thunderstorms. That's the main concern this type of year. We've opened up some additional routes. The military gives us some extra airspace to use. We open new routes over the Gulf of Mexico and some higher altitude routes. So we try to keep that mix going, but if the storms act up, it will result in delays.
The TSA expects to screen more than 32 million people from today through Monday, July 8th. That's about a 5% increase from last year's July 4th holiday. Well, most travelers will be driving to their holiday destinations. Fox News correspondent Katie Byrne has what you can expect on the road.
The 4th of July holiday is just around the corner, and this could be one for the record book. AAA is estimating about 71 million Americans will hit the rails, roads, and skies this year to celebrate the holiday. That's a 5% increase over last year. And for the first time, AAA is making estimates for the entire week, with schools out for the summer and many having the flexibility to work remotely.
The trend that we've seen through AAA travel bookings is that people are extending their stays, but they're also spending more money when they're traveling.
The majority of holiday travelers, some 60 million, are expected to drive to their destinations, but with wildfires burning out west, flooding in the Midwest, and storms on the East Coast, all those extra cars on the road could turn highways into parking lots.
It's not so bad getting there. It's usually coming home. Maybe that's because we have less patience on the way home, but traffic is always miserable.
Gas prices are also lower than last year, which could lure more people into road trips, making the traffic even worse. But some drivers are taking it in stride, saying it's all just a part of going on vacation.
The traffic is something to deal with, but if you leave it a little early and adjust your time and your schedule, you can fit it in.
And of course, travel experts say the best way to avoid those traffic jams is to hit the road early in the day or late at night, with 2 to 7 p.m. considered the worst time to start a road trip. At the Pennsylvania Welcome Center along I-95, Katie Byrne, Fox Weather.
Well, pandas are back in the U.S. Up next, we'll learn where you can see those black and white bears. Excitement is building in Southern California, where two giant pandas now call the San Diego Zoo home. Yun Chuhan and Xing Bao left China yesterday on a 7,300-mile journey to San Diego. They're the first set of giant pandas to enter the U.S. in more than 2 decades and are part of a special conservation agreement between the U.S. and China. Now, the zoo is preparing for their arrival, constructing an area 4 times the size of the previous panda exhibit at the zoo, which mimics the bear's native habitat.
Like their spots, kind of things around their eyes. I started getting into pandas because that's my school mascot. They're really cute and fluffy.
The zoo has not hosted giant pandas since 2019, when China recalled most of its bears from U.S. zoos over diplomatic tensions at the time. Now zookeepers are hoping a little magic will also lead to some future panda babies at the zoo. Can't wait. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. How organizations around the country are supporting an Arkansas community devastated by a mass shooting. Plus, the Supreme Court gives its opinion of an abortion case in Idaho, which could have nationwide implications.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Organizations from around the country continue to head to Fordyce, Arkansas, following the mass shooting which left 4 people dead and others injured last Friday. And their common goal is to bring some degree of comfort to a community trying to heal. As Emma Allen tells us, one source of that comfort has 4 legs.
They start at 8 weeks old, and then when the trainer decides that she's ready to go out, then...
You might have heard the saying before, a dog is a man's best friend.
They don't do tricks, but what they do is they do understand how to really begin to take in a person's emotions and to be a dog that's there to care and be that non-judgmental presence for the person.
Persis is a 5-year-old golden retriever that works for Lutheran Church Charities, a nonprofit ministry headquartered out of Illinois. She has gone through 2,000 hours of training to be able to help victims in the aftermaths of tragic events like natural disasters and mass shootings, like the one that happened in Fordyce on Friday.
And it is amazing. People will sometimes have a very hard time talking to another human about what they're experiencing, but we see it all the time when they sit down with the dog. They begin to emote and they begin to share and they begin to open up. And we always know that it's been a successful visit when, even in the midst of pain, we'll get a little laugh or we'll get a little smile.
And smiles and laughs are needed right now in the small town of Fordyce in the time of darkness.
Well, I believe the next best thing we can do is we can bring that light and that love, and we can bring that and push back against the darkness. And that's what we're here to do. One of my favorite phrases is that at the end of the day, we're just trying to walk one another home.
Reverend Chris Singer explained it can be a tiring mission, going from state to state, seeing other people in the depths of pain. But he says there is still a reason to have hope.
Most important thing we can do is to continue to come together. And I can't tell you how many times I've been on scenes like this where you realize the value of life. You realize how precious it is. People constantly saying, I just saw them 20 minutes ago and then they were gone. That's a meaningful point in life to remember that we only have this moment promised to us. And so let's take advantage of this moment and let's do good and let's do well. And again, don't give up hope.
The Supreme Court rejected a controversial settlement involving Purdue Pharma. The settlement would have sent billions of dollars to treatment programs and victims of the nation's opioid epidemic. In exchange, the Sackler family, which owns Purdue, the maker of OxyContin, would have immunity from future civil lawsuits. A federal appeals court in New York approved the deal last year, but the High Court today overruled it, taking issue with the protection from lawsuits. Well, a decision on a key abortion case is officially released today after a draft leaked briefly yesterday. The case hinged on whether federal law requiring emergency abortions supersedes Idaho's near-total ban. Rather than rule, the court punted, leaving some on both sides of the issue unhappy. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
So the emergency room is there to provide health care. Abortion is not health care.
Pro-life protesters on the steps of the Supreme Court letting the justices know they're not happy with the court's decision to throw out a case that pitted a federal law to perform emergency abortions against Idaho's near-total ban.
They try to muddy the issue and confuse people by thinking, that we don't want to give health care to women. That is not true.
In a one-sentence statement, the court dismissed the case. We got a sneak peek Wednesday when a draft opinion was mistakenly posted briefly on the court's website. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote, too many aspects of the case have changed and rendered the scope of the dispute unclear at best.
It's hard to feign surprise with the fact that this opinion came out last night by mistake. It was the ultimate off-ramp.
Some hospitals in Idaho were sending women with pregnancy complications out of state because some doctors fear they'll face criminal charges if they perform an abortion in the wake of the state's near-total ban after 6 weeks. The Biden administration argued federal law requires doctors to give stabilizing treatment in medical emergencies, including abortions. And Democrats in Congress say they'll do their part.
We will not rest until reproductive freedom is the law of the land for every single woman in the United States of America.
President Biden is sure to make the abortion issue front and center at tonight's debate. But there's also another Supreme Court decision looming that could change the course of this election. Whether former President Donald Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for actions he took while in office. That ruling could come out Friday.
It's going to be a heck of a day. It's basically Roberts has decided to hold the World Cup, World Series, and the Super Bowl.
We're still waiting on decisions in several cases, and there's no rhyme or reason why some rulings come out before others. The Chief Justice simply says the decisions come out once they're finalized. From the Supreme Court, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A bit later, how the agriculture industry is using artificial intelligence to make up for a worker shortage.
Of course, another hot one for us today. Temperatures, they were right around 90 to 91 degrees during the afternoon, but at least the humidity wasn't too bad, which is always nice to see. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam downtown, looking northeast through downtown. Temperatures still warm. Most of us upper 70s to lower 80s, 81 in Miami, 81 in Carthage, 77 in Cassville. Behind me, we have Nowata at 82. Yates Center's checking in at 80 degrees. Let's go outside. 81. Southeasterly winds are light, but the winds are going to pick up as we go through the next couple days, but at least the humidity is not too bad. We're kind of sitting 60 to about 65 degrees on our dew point tracker, which puts us in that not bad to kind of sticky range. And that's where we're going to sit as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Now, the winds pick up a little bit as we go into Friday. We're going to have gusts kind of 20 upwards to 30 miles per hour at times through tomorrow night and into Saturday as our next front starts to drop in. Heat advisory in effect through the day tomorrow. Kansas, Oklahoma, excessive heat warning with heat indices pressing 110 once you get through northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Not too much going on outside for us right now, but we are tracking some storms out to our west, central western Kansas, and some of these guys are going to try to push in late tonight into tomorrow morning as we have a weak little wave that's going to rotate through, and most of the energy will stay to our north, but we are going to see some scattered showers. Here's 3:30 in the morning. A few trying to get in toward Yates Center, kind of pushing east, light scattered showers, mainly along and north of I-44. So here's 7 a.m. Showers push out by 9 or 10 a.m. Then partly sunny skies, hot and humid. Temperatures 96, 97 for an afternoon high. Tomorrow night, we're going to watch chances for additional scattered thunderstorms, mainly after midnight, dropping through the region. Here's 4:30 in the morning on Saturday. Any showers or thunderstorms we do have out there will be gone by mid-morning on Saturday. Then partly sunny, hot and humid again. Now, Saturday evening, we got to watch for pop-up storms. They're going to be very isolated to scattered, but the ones that do get going could be strong to severe. So we got to keep our eyes on that as well as we get into Saturday night. All right, rainfall potential, at least over the next couple days. Heaviest in our northern counties. The farther south you go, the lighter it gets. Very spotty, but some areas will pick up some decent amounts of rain. Day planner for you Friday. Few showers to start, 88 by noon, high temp, 97 degrees. What about those heat indices? Tomorrow, it's going to feel like upper 90s to near 100, then 100 to about 107 once you get out into our western counties. And then even on Saturday, heat indices 100 to about 105 degrees. All right, 97 tomorrow, 96 Saturday. A little bit cooler Sunday, 87, back to 92 on Monday, and then triple-digit heat moving in right before the 4th of July.
Coming up in sports, a former Pitt State Gorilla is one step away from heading to the Olympics. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws try to open their homestand with a win. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Two Pittsburgh State alumni compete tonight in the semifinals of the 110-meter hurdles at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Eugene, Oregon. Cordell Tinch and Lewis Rollins, both of whom earned their spot in the semis by finishing in top 18 in the first round on Monday. Well, Cordell Tinch finishes in second place in the first heat with a time of 13.19 seconds. That's good enough to send him through to the finals tomorrow night. Rollins just misses on qualifying for the finals. He finishes with a time of 13.33, which is a personal best and only 0.06 of a second behind the final qualifying time. If Tinch finishes third place or better in the finals, he advances to the Olympics as part of Team USA. Switching gears to collegiate summer baseball, the Joplin Outlaws have the best home record in the Mid-America League. They are 8-1 in games played at Joe Becker Stadium. That's where they are this evening. Joplin opens a 4-game home series tonight facing the Fort Smith Marshals, who make the trip up from I-49. We start in the first inning. Rayvon Morgan goes to left field. That drops down. That counts as an RBI single. Outlaws score first. It's 1-0. Later in the inning, Drake Lee hits this one sharply up the middle and through. That allows Morgan to come in and score. Joplin leads 2-0. First inning rally does not stop there. 2 on, 2 out. Mike Blackiston, he places this one perfectly past the infield. That scores a pair of runs, and Joplin jumps out to a 4-0 lead to begin the ball game. However, Fort Smith claws its way back into this one. Dylan Lopez singles to left field. That gives Fort Smith the lead as their offense starts to heat up. As we come on the air, still time left. Last check, Fort Smith leads Joplin 9-7 in the 7th inning. And this morning, Webb City welcomes a new business named Tea Time with a climate-controlled driving range, outdoor pickleball courts, along with a full bar and restaurant. Its owners say today's ribbon cutting was a long time coming.
4 years ago, we had the concept, and we were sitting there at a coffee shop, Joplin Greenhouse, and Kellen just said, "Hey, let's do Topgolf," and I kind of thought he was crazy. And I said, we should start smaller, maybe just a driving range. So we agreed to that, and then we ended up just adding to it, and eventually this is kind of where we ended up, and I think it's well worth it.
We had so many no's along the way, so many hoops to jump through, but there's a lot of people in this community that rallied for this project, and for it to be here today is just completely surreal.
That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
Farmers are turning to AI to help with a shortage of human workers. Fox Business correspondent Kelly Sabiri is at a farm in Salina, Kansas with more.
To say AGCO is making a splash in the ag tech industry is an understatement. Experts say the last major innovation to really hit this market was switching from metal wheels to rubber ones nearly 100 years ago. And now we're seeing driverless grain carts, autonomous tillage machines, and AGCO's very own farm office. This is the nerve center for agronomic data that can help manage the entire crop cycle at their Ag Tech Day in Assyria, Kansas.
Data management allows the farmer to send a command to the machine and then have the machine report back what it did and have the farmer essentially manage their whole operation much more effectively.
AGCO CEO Eric Hansodia says they're targeting the 93% of customers that don't buy new equipment. This is a $150 billion addressable market. Farmers don't need to buy an entirely new piece of equipment. The technology can be retrofitted into a piece they already own in virtually any brand. Driving the trends is an agricultural labor crisis.
You know, I spend a lot of time talking with farmers. I've been in this industry my whole life. And one of the first conversations I usually raise is labor's a challenge for me. Either I can't get it at all, or that what I can get is a challenge to manage.
Farmers and suppliers are facing a defining moment. According to the Census of Agriculture, from 2017 to 2022, the number of farms using hired labor declined nearly 15%.
Autonomy is something they're very thirsty for.
And with the global population expected to reach 10 billion people by 2050, farmers are looking for innovative ways to do their job more efficiently. Take this sprayer, the most advanced in the industry. The sensors can detect the amount of chlorophyll in the plants, determining what is a weed and what isn't. It then can shoot a dime-sized weed with precision, alleviating the need to blanket spray farmland with herbicides or pesticides, wasting precious product. Not only does this prevent runoff, it can work day or night. All in all, that means it's a 90% reduction on input. This could mean that it's much easier to have autonomous vehicles adapt to America's farmland than it is our highways. In Assyria, Kansas, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
Exciting new technology. Coming up, we'll check out the newest movies and shows releasing in theaters and streaming. A frightening franchise continues, an American saga begins, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at this week's new releases.
The The sci-fi horror prequel A Quiet Place Day One is in theaters with a story of when the aliens first invaded. The spin-off is set in New York City and centers around a woman and other survivors trying to find safety while learning the secret to escaping the creatures is to stay as silent as possible. Kevin Costner introduces Chapter 1 of the Western epic Horizon, an American Saga, which he stars in, wrote, and directed, about the Civil War expansion and settlement of the American West.
It's nice you're not on your phone.
Daddy-O with Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn is about a woman connecting with her New York City taxi driver as they share stories about relationships in their lives.
Wouldn't you rather be hanging out with your friends?
I don't have any friends.
Expanding to theaters nationwide is the coming-of-age tale Janet Planet, about an 11-year-old spending a long summer at home with her mother and 3 strangers.
I think we did create our own magic.
On Prime Video is the documentary I Am Celine Dion, with the singer sharing a raw, honest, behind-the-scenes look at her struggle with stiff person syndrome, while also highlighting the music which has guided her life.
This is just getting worse by the minute.
Netflix adds the rom-com A Family Affair with Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, and Joey King about the comedic consequences for a young woman when a surprising romance starts between her mother and her movie star boss.
Doors!
Plus, Yes Chef, the hit Emmy-winning series The Bear is back with Season 3 on Hulu. The 3rd season follows Carmi, Sydney, and the rest of the restaurant team working to elevate their new dining establishment and keep it in business. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A lot of good options, and that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a dog in Ireland enjoying a pool. Why not? Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.